Do I need lube? Alright, so I've got this control arm. So we're going to reuse this sway link holder right here. And that's just going to be removing that bolt right there. And then we're also going to be replacing this so we don't have to worry about taking this off the old one. But if you didn't plan on replacing this, you'd have to press this out and remove this there. So it all depends how far you're willing to go with yours. But for mine, we're going to take this right here that sits in here, press these in, and then get them ready to put back into the car. And that's really about it. So the next thing you'll see is this pressed in and the control arm, which new control arm right here. Let's see if it's got the bolt. No bolt, so we're just going to reuse the old bolt. Get that set up and ready to go. If you don't have a table vise or anything like that, it's going to make it a little bit tricky, so I'm just going to use this tool. And I'm going to put this in here, press it in, and that should be that. So that's what I'm going to do. You guys have to figure out something else if you don't have that. Got this pressed in. Goes 50-50 on each side, or just about that. So this one's ready to go. I got to press the other side in, but I'm going to wait till later. So I got this one ready. You're going to have to press this on to that end right there on the new one. And then let me switch this bracket over right there and get that ready. Mostly loose. That way it's not wiggling all the way around. Let's see how difficult this is to get in. We need lube. Lubricant. Brake part lubricant. Lubricant. So I got the lollipop on, bracket on. This is ready to get back into its new home. And let me double check if I have 2 new bolts for that. I think I do. It looks like ECS included new bolts for the lollipops. I'm assuming that's what these are for. I'm gonna use them. Reuse the washers though. They didn't give us new washers, so I'm gonna reuse these. So I'm gonna get the lollipop put into place. Lollipop. So I mean, this is pretty much for rinse and repeat. Some people show a lot of detail when they're doing these reinstalls. Some people don't. I'm gonna show you guys as much as I can. Okay. Got our new bolt. Let's redo that. So we're just gonna line this hole up. Get one of these in. Right. And again, same thing, we're gonna take this bolt out, or take the washer off, keep the bolt. Take this thread. I'm doing this with no gloves because I need my dexterity right now. I gotta be able to feel what I'm doing. I found this really good torque spec guide on Garagistic, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'll leave a link down below to these guys, but they have a bunch, and this should give you a general guide to torque everything down. I'm not gonna go through every single one, and yeah. I've got these new bolts. So I'm gonna take the 19 along with the washer. I'm gonna get that guy started, or excuse me, I'm gonna get the 22 along with the washer and get that guy started back there. That's the one that's a pain, so there's really not much to show you guys. It sits on there like that and happily goes on. Good luck. Wish you the best. I hate this bolt, but we're gonna do that one next. So I'm gonna keep the lollipops just a little bit loose and keep everything loose until it's time to finalize where everything is gonna live. So I'm gonna slide this out the way, tighten these down, and I'll be back. And this is gonna be tricky with being solo, but I'm gonna try. Ugh, if you guys aren't strong, make sure you get some help, because this thing ain't light. Lighting up these holes is not easy either. So I'm gonna go for it. Hand tight. I'm gonna get everything kind of situated down here first before we tighten anything else up. Kind of get everything situated loosely, and then we'll get to snugging. So again, just reverse order, but basically same but different. I've changed plans a few times here, but what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to see if I can get this control arm where it needs to be, which is fighting me pretty hard, but it's all right. Just a little bit of coercion. Never mind. I'm gonna tighten this up and see if I can get this a little bit higher up. All right, so that did the trick. Just tightening this up just a little bit and then getting this right where it needs to be. And got a new one for this. The old one, no washer, no nothing. So let me just hold my foot here. Let that sit for a little bit. Yeah. YouTube mechanics. And then we're gonna go ahead and start getting this threaded. All right, this guy's tightened, or at least held into place. Now, what we're gonna do is rotate this the other way. Move you guys around. And then remember that bracket down at the bottom is also loose as well, so we gotta be ready to tighten that one up. Alright, we're gonna have to wait on the sway link. Actually, I think this is still a little bit too low. So we're gonna hang tight on that. I'm gonna tighten up top and lift this up. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do this backwards. I'm gonna put this one in. So now we have this arm pretty much ready to go. I'm gonna tighten up top, lift this up a little bit, and keep this going. Those bolts up top are tightened. We're gonna turn our attention back over here. We're gonna start to tighten up this 19 bolt and bring this arm up a little bit. The other thing is for that strut mount center bolt, I didn't tighten that all the way. I mean, I tightened it as much as I could without it spinning, but because the weight of the car is kind of needed to tighten it down a little bit, don't forget to tighten that down. So now that's a little bit tighter, not all the way tightened, but in there enough. We're gonna take the sway link, start getting this positioned. Remember that bolt under here is still kind of loose, so we're gonna have to manhandle a few things little by little to get this lined up quite right. Finding it rather difficult to film and work, but I've got this tightened up right here, snugged up, working on this, and then the bolt underneath. Well, I'm gonna flip order, bolt underneath, then that. Over here, we have this started, but not all the way tightened, and we're just rolling along, getting everything situated. These are tied up top, all three, except for the center bolt, and I'm gonna tighten that up once I get the car dropped down a little bit so that it's not spinning. So to tighten down this one, it's the same thing as that, where you're gonna either have to get a jack underneath the bottom, right under here, or at the top you can get an Allen key in there. And I wanna say it's a 6 or 7. So just hold that steady while you tighten and you should be good. One thing I just realized is I didn't have the locking nut on mine. Some people have that locking nut, I guess, or maybe whoever did this prior didn't change it out. You're gonna wanna take the old one, and it's supposed to have this locking plate right here. And as you can see on the locking plate, it's got that little tab. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take this new one, you're gonna line it up with the old one, and you're gonna try to get them as close to possible in length. And you could use a tape measure, you can eyeball it, you can count the threads. That's probably what I'm gonna do. And you're gonna try to get this as close to the previous alignment as you possibly can. And then it's time to just throw this in there. And using the same tool, throw it in there, tighten it up, lock it in place, dent that washer, locks everything, and you're good. What you're gonna do is you're gonna loosen this. Some of the other styles I've seen have a lock washer or a lock nut that holds this tight, but you're gonna loosen this up here, and then you're gonna take a wrench to this part, and there's a little groove right here where you can use, and you're just gonna loosen this guy that way, or tighten as needed. And your goal is again to just get this to be exactly matched up with this one, as good as you can get it. I mean, you're not going to get it perfect, but just get it as close. Just get it as close as you can, so that way you can avoid any extra wear and tear damage because your alignment is that jacked up. And I didn't even need the special tool for this one, because this one has the wrench flat sides, so that's pretty handy. And don't forget your boot. I'm gonna need that. So I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna get this boot on. Got the boot on. And yep. Oh, and then I'm just gonna put some Loctite. I'm gonna put some Loctite on these threads. Loctite on these threads. So all I'm doing is just hand threading it in. Right down in there. And you can either use a wrench, since this one has the wrench side, or you can use the special tool, this guy, that we use to take everything out. Up to you. Tighten that up, locking washer in place. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get this boot in place and zip tied. Since I don't have the metal brackets, so I'm just gonna do zip ties again like it was done prior. And then this will be ready. And then the last step is just gonna be getting this into here. All that's really left is getting this tie rod into this guy, which is going to be a pain, but we got this. And then throwing the brake caliper back on, making sure everything lines up, and then should be in business. Does the trick. So we're just going to use that to hold it. Get a wrench. And tighten this down. And right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and tighten everything that we touched. Make sure everything is in place where it needs to be. Tight. I got a little bit of brake lube, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit on just so my brakes are lubed up. A little bit on that back side. Right, and then we're gonna take our 7mm. We're gonna get these guys threaded. Remember, you're gonna use this guy. Switch over to your socket. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten these up, and we'll get to moving our brake sensor, speed sensor, all that stuff reconnected. And yeah, and then remember, this little sensor is held in with this little 5mm guy, so I'm going to go ahead and tighten that one up and get that in place. But I've got everything routed, all the wires out of the way, so that's almost done. All right, so now all that's left is still just to tighten up the strut up top, but I'm going to wait till I get the car down so I have the weight of the car to help me there. But everything is in place. Brakes are in place. This dust shield is kind of hitting on my tie rod just a little bit, so that kind of stinks, but not a big deal. I'm going to go ahead and get this ready for the tire to go back on. It took me a few days because I was working on this after work, but you guys are going to see the front rebuild, and then part 2 is going to be the rear. Once everything is all done, of course, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lower the car and I'm going to tighten these up because those are easier to not move when the car is on the ground.